So again, welcome everybody. It's been about a month since we met in Port Elizabeth, Capera. I'm very happy to see all of you here with us, a nice big number to, again, I would like to say, celebrating the success of the third International Learning Exchange. And I think it was perfectly titled No Wash, No School. And I think those are very clear statements on the need for water and sanitation in schools to improve learning environments. So as a post ILE webinar, we're going to do a few things. Number one, we'll have a few introductions and announcements, but we're very blessed to have two presentations from South Africa and Zambia as a follow-up. And then we'll have an open exchange. And this is an opportunity for countries, for you to, country representatives, to kind of share some of the next steps you plan to take. And then, of course, a little bit of information about the WINS network. So as mentioned again, we do have interpretation both in French and I believe also in Portuguese. So to do that, you simply have to go to the language setting. So when you go to, you will see languages. When you click onto languages, that will be around the 3 bars. You will see original language, you will see French, and you will see possibly Portuguese. When you get there, you can press the language of your choice and you should be hearing the interpretation. And also, just so we know each other, and given this short time, please, who are we in the virtual chat room? Please put in the chat your name and your country, delegation, which you come from, so we can get to know each other. And welcome again, everybody here with us. So I guess it wouldn't be right, and it wouldn't be in great honor to not thank South Africa for doing an absolutely amazing job of hosting the International Learning Exchange. And as I said to Mr. Dr. Gongozola, that they not only fed us, they entertained us, but they welcomed us to many of the schools and also shared with us their prospects and plans for Washington schools. But it was also a wonderful opportunity for 18 countries to come together and exchange. So again, thank you to the organizing team. Thank you to the GIZ team in South Africa and all those who made it possible. So one of the big outcomes was actually the outcome document, and aptly called No Wash, No Schools, Africa's call to put water, sanitation, and hygiene at the heart of education. And I think that the message was strong and centered around the 4 themes that came up. The themes around governance, clear leadership, and a shared responsibility. The second theme around financing, adequate resources for sustainable services, and as well monitoring data information which supports and leads to actions, followed by, and of course, coupling all of this together is the integration aspects of aligning sectors for impact. That means bringing other sectors together to support this impact. What will be very interesting for us as we move forward in the next year is to what extent are the country delegations implementing or organizing their implementation or their focus areas around these 4 themes. And this will be something that we would love to further discuss with you, but also use that to very much guide you in the coming year. We really hope that the ILE is not just a one-time effort, but rather it supports a number of different actions and exchanges throughout the course of the year. Another thing to share is the evaluation, the ILE evaluation. And generally was very, very positive. And we want to again thank all the team, Ubo and Saki, who put all this together. Took the studious notes that you all wrote, was very helpful. So what are the things that the evaluation shared? So number one, the evaluation said that it was a very engaging, and it brings out simple, scalable local solutions that can be implemented in all countries. So in that regard, it was very inspiring. For first-time attendees, they were very satisfied and they look actually forward to future ones. There was also opportunities as to share knowledge, but also to make new friends and colleagues and to discuss emerging issues and also to further analyze them. And overall, there was a feeling that the ILE was well organized, keeping the challenges and a well done to the team. When the question, were the topics and content of the ILE relevant for your professional work? The resounding answer was yes. Many felt that it allowed them to take home good practices, such as, for example, setting up a WASH committee with teachers. That's something new to see. Also reviewing different financing models. That was also seen. And also that the fact that WASH is beyond primary and secondary school, but also has the importance to TVET, technical vocational education. And we will have a bit more discussion from Zambia on the application to the TVET setting. It also talked a lot about some of the reflections were also around how to close the policy gaps and strengthen policies in general, and also capacity and awareness campaigns. So generally, it was very positive. Over resounding amount of people said that it was, yes, it was very useful to them. But there's always, like anything, points for improvement. I think there were definitely challenges around the interpretation, both from English and French, which allowed some of the exchanges not to happen as fluidly as one would wish. We did also challenge some internet and power connections, especially in the venue, and perhaps the greater inclusion of other ministries, particularly Ministry of Finance, could also strengthen the engagement. And I think I also 100% agree with this, more opportunities for countries to present. So countries should be prepared and to present. So that was the evaluation. And now moving on to some announcements. So in terms of the announcements, we hope, this is, and again, speaking a little bit from the WINS network perspective, there is obviously an increasing WINS momentum. And one of the recent outcomes was the WINS was discussed in the UNESCO and African Union meeting in Addis, which took place, and particularly under the School Meals Coalition. They do plan in their 28th of February summit in Addis to actually include WINS. And it's a really great opportunity to anchor WASH in schools with school feeding cases in the country. And perhaps maybe this is an area to further discuss. The second announcement, which is more of a call to action, is the importance of designating a WINS focal point for each country to be a point of contact or entry point for the WINS network, and also some of the follow-up from the ILE. So the WINS network will be reaching out to the various country delegations to ask them to identify who are these possible focal point persons and have regular contact. So we're already thinking about 2026 and the next ILE. Which countries are interested to host are welcome to send their expression of interest to the WINS network, to the organizers. And lastly, and I think we will have to send it through a QR code, there is a request to fill the shared action, the shared agenda for action on menstrual health and hygiene programs. This we will, unfortunately, I don't have the QR code, but we will make that QR code available, or it'll be sent via email to you.
In the chat.
Oh, it's already in the chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Perfect. So it's in the chat, and you are requested and kindly requested to fill that in. So with that, I then and can pass the floor to South Africa, who will be speaking, will be doing a presentation for us. So I will stop the share for a moment and welcome our colleague from South Africa, to the virtual floor. Are you able to unmute yourself? Perhaps you're having challenge. Can I ask the moderator to unmute? Or the administrator to unmute? I see Matilda is unmuted. Matilda? Or not?
Belinda, has some internet connection.
Could I please ask if we could give South Africa a moment? It seems they've dropped off the call, if that's okay.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So maybe we take it a bit, we go forward with Zambia, because I believe Zambia's on, and then we can go back to South Africa. Would that make more sense? Giving them a bit more time to queue in?
Yes, that could work as well. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so then can I welcome then, is it Phyllis from Zambia?
Phyllis and Precious, yes.
Yes, Phyllis and Precious, welcome. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you, Belinda?
I'm well too here in Berlin. And actually, I didn't even welcome myself. I went straight into the thing. Belinda Abraham from based in Berlin. So I want to know, can we already put up your presentation? And are you ready to go with your presentation?
Of course, yes.
Oh, excellent. So I'm going to right now load up your presentation and welcome you to the virtual stage.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's all on, and you can just tell me to move the slides forward as you need.
Thank you so much, Belinda. Good afternoon from Zambia. Good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is a presentation from Zambia, and we are saying we want to bring WASH to TV from the
Good
lessons and
afternoon.
pathways. Good afternoon. Thank you. Yes, so we are saying we want to bring WASH to TVET, that is Technical Education, Vocational and Entrepreneurship Training, where we've learned lessons and pathways from what we've attended, the wins that we've attended so far. So that is the presentation by Precious Emily Sulo from the Ministry of Technology and Science, and also I'm Phyllis Kasonkomula from TVETA. Thank you. So in our introduction, we are saying
Sorry, Phyllis, we are losing your audio. Can we go back to Phyllis?
Thank you.
Good, we're back.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. I had dropped. Yes, so we are on the first slide where we are looking at the introduction, and we are saying Zambia has been participating in the African Wins ILE, which demonstrates commitment to creating health and inclusive learning environments. And of course, at one point, when we interacted with most of our participants, we noticed that actually the majority of the participants were coming from primary schools, of course, from various ministries and organizations, but supporting primary schools mostly. But we attended coming from the TVET sector. So we thought as TVET, we usually engage with GIZ, and of course, we are supported in our training, curriculum development, implementation of the TVET programs. And we realized that health and hygiene to skills development is equally key, even as we really look at primary schools. Our presentation will share lessons from the past international learning, and also we will outline the pathways for WASH and how we would want this integrated in TVET. This is really in appreciating the lessons that we have learned. Because even with our institutions, we actually struggle with sanitation. And as TVETA, the authority that usually regulates TVET, we find that issues of sanitation are quite key. And even when we have inspectors, we actually bring on board those coming from the public health to help us with sanitation issues. Thank you. We can go to the next slide. So yes, we are saying, what is it that we've really picked from the WINS platform? We are saying we actually learned that the global learning platform on water, sanitation, and hygiene in schools can still be a good platform for TVET, depending on how we will actually integrate this. Then, of course, we looked at the history where the inspiration of these African exchange learning on WASH was inspired by Asia since 2012. And we were happy that we still attended the first African exchange program in Cote d'Ivoire. That was in 2023 with focus on policy. Then, fortunately, again, we were supported by GIZ, where we attended the second WINS in Zanzibar, where implementation and monitoring was also emphasized. So we were happy to also be part of the third African exchange program in South Africa, where the scaling and collaboration motivated by the lessons that were learned. And of course, even for the third, they just passed exchange program that was held. I know I couldn't preempt to really talk about the achievements. I will leave that to South Africa, but we were still geared to say this time as we go, we just have to engage and see how we can still bring WASH in TVET institutions. Can go to the next slide. So what were the key lessons from the first conference and workshop that we attended? Like I said, we had a policy foundation for WINS. I think that came out clearly. And also during this meeting, there was an introduction of the WINS monitoring package, and we saw the promotion of the 3-star approach for stepwise improvement. And I should thank South Africa for really simplifying it. I actually got that, the guidelines, the simplified ones, and we are studying them. When I even shared with my teams, I think they already got it just to learn more about this 3-star approach, even when we take it in the TVET sector. Then we also realized that there was a strengthened collaboration among Ministry of Education, Health and Water. And like I'm already saying, we are doing a lot in terms of skills development in the water and energy sector. And of course, the health component is also quite key. And when we education, I know that yes, TVET could be under a different ministry, but these are the students that we get now as they come or as they enter the tertiary. We still get students from these schools. But then you will find that because TVET is quite inclusive, sometimes we even pick students to do skills who have not passed through primary or secondary school. So issues of sanitation and hygiene become actually more critical to even such students. So we also picked the highlighting of the gender responsive and inclusive facilities. This one, I will even share that right now as TVETA, we are trying to actually look at the gender policy in TVET. We have a consultant who is actually taking us through. So what is being done under WINS will actually still support the gender policy and also the gender issues that should be discussed. So I already mentioned to say the menstrual hygiene is quite key because it will support the ladies in these TVET institutions. Belinda, we can go to the next slide. Yes, so from the second workshop that we had in Zanzibar, I think we noticed that the focus was now on implementation, sustainability, and monitoring. And also there was some good practices. This it was quite engaging. We learned a lot how far some countries have gone into these wins. And of course, there was also promotion of school level hygiene clubs and peer-led learning. This also came out from the Zanzibar conference. Then, of course, we also saw the integration of menstrual hygiene management and also the encouragement in climate resilient wash infrastructure. This was from the second conference that was held in Zanzibar. We can move to the next slide, Belinda. So how do we still really see the relevance of WASH in our TVET institutions? We are saying TVET institutions function as learning, working, and living spaces. We are also saying WASH supports safety, productivity, and gender inclusion. This we still need even in the TVET institutions. Then we are also saying hygiene habits align with industry standards and occupational health. Sometimes we say charity begins at home. So once we raise a child, that will actually ensure that what we are advocating is really taken into consideration and is applied. It will be easy even as really transition into the workplace where they will still really look at the water, sanitation, health, and hygiene to make just an employee, a worker that will be holistic in terms of hygiene. Then we are also saying WASH fosters dignity, retention, and holistic learning. Yes, sometimes I know the way we teach, even in our curriculum where we have content-based, we really just talk about knowledge and skills, but we miss out the values in certain situations where somebody can do and perform a task very, very well. The environment will be very dirty. So this is a value that should be integrated in the learning at every level of education. We go to the next slide. So what have we proposed? I think working with our parent ministry, like I mentioned, Precious Lisulo is coming from the Ministry of Technology and Science, and this is where TVETA is an authority, and our mandate is to regulate, coordinate, and also monitor TVET training. So because we've been attending with her, we still realized that we needed WASH in our TVET institutions, and our proposed actions are as follows. We would want to develop a TVET specific WASH standards and monitoring tools in the TVET sector. WASH in tools, instructor and student training. We are also saying we can establish health and hygiene clubs in colleges. We would also want to pilot WASH-friendly institutions with GIZ and the ministry, like I'm saying. This is something that we are already discussing, I think, with GIZ and also our parent ministry. Then we will also look at, we will document results for regional sharing. And I'm happy to say, yes, we are coming in as TVET, but our Ministry of Education is already participating, and there are some standards that they already have. We've agreed to say we will still look at what they already have so that we don't reinvent the wheel, so that even as we come in as TVET, we will have these standards now applied in our institutions. And the pilot is also something that we would want to actually embark on so that we see how it works before we can roll it out to other institutions. But like I'm saying, most institutions in our country are in grade 3. We have a matrix and we have some criteria that we use to grade our institutions, but you find that most of them will not do well in terms of sanitation and hygiene. How do they dispose of these pads for the girls? So we have an instrument that is specific, and it also actually integrates the sanitation issues when an institution is being graded. So we really feel this will be an eye-opener and also something that can enhance even the clean learning environments in our TVET institutions. I'm sure Madam Precious would comment after I finish so that she also just shares how the ministry is looking at this. So we can still go to the next slide. Yes, so in the TVET system, like I said, we have the Ministry of Technology and Science as our policy director. Then we have the regulator, which is the VETA, and the training institutions now are the providers of this training that we are talking about. And once these graduates leave our system, they now go into the labor market. So like I said, hygiene is something that should really be taught, but sometimes it doesn't come as a module where somebody should learn. But through the WASH, where we've talked about the clubs and also the WINS, you are producing an holistic graduate who, even when they go into industry, those competences, those skills will already actually have this value, which is coming from the WASH. So this is how the system actually works. And I'm sure you've seen that they go into the labor market with that mindset of really, hygienically, they'll be clean, they will know about sanitation, and they'll carry it on even as they go into the labor market. We can go to the next slide. So we are still encouraging partnerships and collaborations. We are saying Ministry of Technology and Science and TVETA are collaborating with GIZ to strengthen hygiene in vocational institutions through the already existing synergies with utility companies. Like I say, GIZ has been very supportive in the water sector, and this is where we have programs or skills that we are already programs being implemented in institutions. So sometimes when we talk about maintenance, our programs like plumbing and pipe fitting sometimes will start from the lowest level. So when we talk about the maintenance of, I think the toilets, I think I've visited some institutions where we saw the leakages and the likes. We are still saying for the TVET institutions, we already have this skill which can actually support the implementation and sustainability of what we are looking at around WASH. Then we are saying Ministry of Education has a dedicated WASH officer and officers who can still provide valuable expertise. I think I've already talked about this. And even in South Africa, we were together with officials from Ministry of Education. Then we are also saying our partnerships and collaborations will ensure alignment with national and regional WASH frameworks. Like I said, we can't reinvent the wheel. We've seen the good frameworks that have already been developed. I think we talked about Asia, but we are saying we've actually come back to Africa, and the frameworks that are being used are really standardized. Like I said, credit should go to South Africa. I think those guidelines are very, very clear and very easy to really follow. So we also want to ensure that we have such frameworks which we can domesticate, even as we really talk about bringing WASH to TVET. The next slide, Belinda. Yes, what are our next steps in mobilizing support for WASH in TVET? So we are saying once our discussions at policy level matures, we will establish a TVET WASH task team, leveraging on the skills advisory group that we have in the water sector. We will also identify funding and technical support opportunities. We will still showcase Zambia's TVET WASH model at future WINS Forum. So I think our relationship and our engagement and our participation, these definitely we are continuing. Then we are saying we will also engage private sector partners to promote workplace hygiene. Like I said, our graduates will end up in the workplace. So we are saying if the labor market could receive graduates that are really aware about the WASH program, this will actually promote workplace hygiene. So definitely we are saying even as we train for industry, and industry should participate in what we do. So these are some of the steps that we wish to share that in mobilizing support for WASH in TVET, we will actually undertake this. And because we know you are already there, you are also very much welcome to support us. The next slide, Belinda. Thank you. In conclusion, we are saying integrating WASH in TVET is an investment in the provision of quality, safety, and a health workforce. We are also saying continued collaboration will help Zambia continue meaningfully to the Continental Wings agenda, which I think, having attended for the third time in South Africa, we are happy with really what we've been learning from these Wings conferences. Then we are saying a health learning environment will create competent, confident graduates that easily absorb into industry. The next slide. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. This is where we end. I'm not too sure if I can allow Precious just to give a comment.
Absolutely. Madame Precious, please join. An excellent presentation. Thank you,
Thank you so
Phyllis.
much.
Yes, Precious,
Thank
welcome.
you,
The floor is
Belinda.
yours.
Thank you. So, just to indicate that following the same WIN activity that we attended in South Africa, when we came back, I'm coming from the Ministry of Technology and Science. So when I came back, I went to my superiors, the executives, and gave them a brief on the advantages and benefits of introducing WASH in the TVET institutions. So that idea was brought in by our permanent secretary. And at the time, 2 weeks ago, when we had our government-to-government talks with the German government, it was brought out in our discussions, in our government-to-government discussions, to say we can start by leveraging on the Thrive 2.0 project that we have in the ministry that is supporting the water and the energy sectors, that we can introduce the WASH in TVET. So that has been accepted informally. We haven't yet written to GIZ to indicate that we would want that area to be one of the components. The discussions with GIZ officials was already started at our government-to-government talks, and it seems it is a welcome move, which we can start. So starting 2026, our hope is that once we formalize it, we write to GIZ and also maybe to indicate the modality in which we can introduce this. Our proposal was that we already have a cordial relationship between the TVET institutions and the CUs, the companies, the utility companies that are supporting our institutions in the provision of the quality water-related programs. So if we can go further, a little further with that engagement to say, instead of them just looking at the programs that are being developed and also the programs that are being offered in the institutions, we bring in a component of having WASH just for hygiene, sanitation, and just a clean environment for the learners, all the learners in the institutions. And that, of course, would give us positive results, because it will provide an enabling environment for the students as they acquire their skills. So that is from the policy perspective. Otherwise, what has been presented in the slides that Phyllis was taking us through is the plan that we want to do at Zambia, and we hope that we'll get the necessary support for us to actualize it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, Precious. I think that was super useful in terms of understanding how these efforts are coherent within the policy framework and also negotiations for funding. I heard somebody else trying to add something, perhaps? No, maybe it was this. Yeah, so thank you very much, Precious, and also Phyllis for that. Yeah, it was an excellent presentation in taking us through how the journey actually, when you started with the International Learning Exchange, how the beginning was to focus on the policy and foundation, understanding the monitoring, the 3-star approach, being stepwise, and also being raised awareness around the gender responsiveness, the integration of MHH. And then the second and third ILE is much more focused on the implementation and integration of MHH and climate resilience. And then also seeing how it can improve the effectiveness of the programs. So I think the last slide that you show, and I think this is really interesting, and I hope we can use this to set up our discussion, is the kind of the 4 steps that you are taking. So besides what you have mentioned already, Precious, on the policy and the funding environment, but how to establish this WASH task team. So putting together the institutional arrangements, looking at how you can get private sector engagement, looking at how you can have sustainable modules or modes of funding, and as well being able to model but also to share the model and exchanges with the model. So to be able to share what you are doing. And I think this is a very interesting next steps. And so I also now welcome other countries now. Let's talk a little bit about what are your next steps. And I think Zambia has, through this presentation, clearly gone through this. We probably can't do this for all the countries, but perhaps maybe let's reflect a little bit on what are the next steps. Here's some guiding questions to prompt our discussion, and I think we will take our discussion for the next 15 minutes or so, or yes. First, I guess to begin, have you been able to share and disseminate the outcome document and so far? And what kind of response has it received? Do you have concrete practices that inspired you during the ILE? And if so, what were they? And what first steps do you plan to implement or accelerate wins? Maybe some of these concrete practices that came up. How do you plan to use the EE matrix, the enabling environment matrix, so that it becomes a framework to possibly guide your WASH in schools acceleration in your country? And is there any specific topics you wish to have more exchange information on? So those are some of the questions that we came up, and I'm sure there are probably others that you could consider too. So we would like maybe the next 15 minutes or so, maybe we give in 10 minutes to have an open discussion and welcome country delegations to mute and to unmute, obviously. Unmute yourself and share. Unfortunately, we are still having some technical challenges with the South African presentation, but this will give us an opportunity to exchange amongst ourselves. So with that, I'm going to stop the share. And I also welcome you to also, if you do have the bandwidth, because apparently today we are not having good internet across the board, but if you do have the bandwidth to allow yourselves to put on your cameras or at least to speak. So would there be a country, and I'm looking through to see which countries and who is available here. So we have the Madagascar, I believe, is here with Burundi and DRC delegations. Meva, welcome again. You did an excellent session on financing. Very curious to hear from the 2 delegations, Burundi and the DRC. What are your next steps following the ILE? Can I welcome you to unmute and share?
I invited to my colleague from Madagascar, yeah, to share her insights out of the ILE. Hi, everyone. Sorry
Yes,
for...
hi, Meva. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
please.
yeah, and then for the English people, we will need to translate, to go into the translation. But she's welcome. Oh, hello.
Oui,
Bienvenue.
bonjour. Bonjour à tous. Je représente donc la délégation de Madagascar. Malheureusement que Madame Mentou, qui travaille au sein du ministère de l'Éducation nationale, n'a pas pu donc participer à cette réunion parce qu'elle est en mission actuellement. Mais je pourrais donc vous présenter donc les activités et qu'on a fait et qu'on pense à faire. Donc, par rapport à ce qu'on a vu, ce qu'on a
a fait en Afrique du Sud. Donc, nous avons appris plusieurs leçons. Entre autres, nous avons pu donc avoir des idées sur la politique en général, où on a les mêmes problèmes avec les autres pays, sur sur la coordination de cette activité WINS au niveau des écoles, c'est-à-dire que on a des problèmes sur le financement parce que l'État ne peut pas assurer donc le fonctionnement et surtout la pérennisation des activités WASH au niveau des écoles. Et donc, après notre mission, nous avons pu partager nous avons fait des rapports et nous avons partagé donc ces rapports-là à nos chefs hiérarchiques, à nos collègues. Et il y a aussi les documents que nous avons pu partager aussi à nos collègues jusqu'à maintenant. Mais et pour le futur, nous avons pensé organiser des réunions avec des acteurs qui interviennent dans le domaine de WASH au niveau des écoles. Euh, oui, pour partager aussi ces documents. Et par rapport à la matrice, nous avons pensé qu'on va à utiliser ça comme cadre et on va aussi discuter du contenu avec les partenaires et surtout les représentants des ministères, ministère de l'Éducation, ministère de l'eau, l'assainissement et de l'hygiène et avec les partenaires qui interviennent dans le domaine de WASH au niveau des écoles. Oui, parmi aussi des avantages que nous avons eus lors de cette réunion, euh, nous avons pu aussi avoir des outils, des idées, comment pérenniser les services, l'approche même de WASH au niveau des écoles. Oui, entre autres, nous avons pu donc faire comment évaluer les coûts pour les travaux d'entretien et de maintenance donc lors de cette réunion. Donc, on peut pratiquer ça directement avec c'est ce qu'on va faire au niveau des écoles actuellement. Euh, Voilà en tout, mais je pense que Meva aussi pourrait ajouter, hein. Merci.
Yeah, merci aussi. Thank you very much. That was excellent. Um, and I think one, maybe you can go back to the French. I hope everybody was able to hear that. If you again need the translation, you go back up to the more, you go to, when you see on top, you see more, there's 3 dots, and then you can go into the French language and outside of the French language to be able to hear the translation. So thank you very much from Madagascar. And I think you hit on some points, very important points around first the initial challenges. The biggest bottleneck is obviously financing. Financing, the idea, the policies are there, the guidelines are there, but financing continues to be your challenge. And how you've also worked through to use the EE matrix as well as also possibilities of bringing the other sectors together in summation, but there's really good work and positive momentum there. So I see there is
C'est juste, j'aimerais ajouter quelque chose.
Yes,
Donc,
please.
c'est par rapport au plan d'action. Donc, nous avons priorisé de mettre à jour donc la base des données à travers le M-Water.
Yeah, thank you very
Oui,
much.
et ce
Yeah,
qui
go ahead.
nous aide donc à convaincre les décideurs pour, pour mettre en place donc une stratégie nationale sur le WASH au niveau des écoles.
Yeah, thank you very much of the importance of the National Plan of Action, which also supports is the
Merci.
basis for the monitoring, as I don't understand, as well as to support the strategy development down to school level. So thank you very much for that addition. If I've got it correct, my French, ce n'est pas si bon. Anyway, good. So I welcome another delegation to share. I saw there was a hand up. Yes, please. Youssef, bienvenue. La parole est à toi. Ou à vous. Yeah, Abel, Aziz, please. You can unmute and tell us how you're moving forward in Chad.
Ok, c'est activé.
Yeah. Hello, bienvenue.
D'accord. Bonjour, bonjour à tout le monde. Bonjour et bonsoir à tout le monde. D'abord, je tiens à féliciter et particulièrement les organisateurs de l'équipe ILE pour en fait quelque chose de leur dévouement pendant l'organisation de ces trois échanges qui ont lieu successivement en Afrique dans les trois pays. Je me félicite et je fais aussi partie en fait des participants qui ont eu la chance de prendre part à ces échanges en Côte d'Ivoire, en Tanzanie et dernièrement en Afrique du Sud. D'abord, après notre retour de la conférence ULE de Tanzanie, nous avions rencontré les autorités du secteur de l'éducation, le ministère, avec nos partenaires publics et financiers. On leur a apporté, en fait, en quelque sorte, un briefing sur notre participation à cet échange d'apprentissage. Vous le savez, comme nous sommes en fin d'année, un calendrier a été dégagé. La restitution est programmée pour le mi-janvier 2025 officiellement, autour de tous les partenaires et les acteurs clés du gouvernement, notamment le ministère de l'eau, l'implication du ministère de la Santé, le ministère de l'Éducation et quelques responsables issus de la primature pour permettre en fait d'engager tout le monde dans ce processus-là. Je voulais aussi dire que les premières mesures envisagées pour accélérer le WINS au Tchad, nous avons identifié trois domaines. Les domaines d'abord, notamment celui des finances, celui des données et celui des politiques stratégies et autres. Donc, nous avons retenu quelques actions phares, parmi lesquelles nous souhaitons élaborer pendant la cour de cette année avec d'abord l'appui de nos partenaires techniques et financiers, avec aussi la volonté d'élaborer un plan d'action concernant le coût d'investissement WASH en milieu scolaire, ici de la stratégie de l'assainissement indigène en milieu scolaire élaborée par le gouvernement du Tchad. Et au-delà de ça, nous envisageons aussi en fait faire un plaidoyer au niveau du ministère pour harmoniser les indicateurs du SIG tout en alignant les variables avec les variables de GMP, en fait, pour nous permettre en fait, de produire des données probantes concernant le coût. Et en troisième aussi action qui nous est prioritaire pour nous, c'est en fait de prioriser le plaidoyer auprès du ministère des Finances pour aboutir à un financement domestique sur le budget du ministère de l'Éducation nationale. Pour l'utilisation de la matrice, c'est une matrice qui va être appropriée par tous par tous les acteurs. Par tous les acteurs, elle servira un document de base pour nos planifications, tant au niveau sectoriel qu'au niveau de planification de nos partenaires dans leurs activités, incluant les UNIS. Voilà. Donc, en résumé, je voulais vraiment, en tout cas, vous féliciter et vous dire que nous avons aussi bâti quand même un effort au niveau du pays parce que nous avons déjà quelques cadres légaux, politiques qui existent, et la stratégie, nous avons les normes, nous avons des outils de formation qui existent. Ce qui nous, maintenant, ce qui nous demande à conjuguer comme effort, c'est de pouvoir en fait mettre tout le monde ensemble pour pouvoir vulgariser la prise de données pour la stratégie.
Thank you very much. It's
Merci
great to
beaucoup. Je vous en
merci,
prie.
merci
Merci.
beaucoup. Thank
Merci.
you
Merci.
very
Thank you.
much for
Merci.
sharing. And I think you also took us, because this is the second, at least the second, I even think the third ILE, that you were able to attend and where you are focusing. So our time is getting towards the end. Those who have to go drop off, I totally understand that. However, I would love to take another country, one more country, and I see that their hand is up, is from Cordo. We will take your country. For the other countries who are not able to speak, because of our short time, if you could put it in the chat and also share, it's also useful for us and also to continue the exchange. For those who can stay later, we will complete the webinar probably a little bit later at 10 minutes. So, Cordo, with that, the floor is yours. Maybe please introduce yourself. Oh, hello, my sister. How are you?
Bonjour,
Bienvenue.
bonjour à tous. Je suis très heureuse d'avoir participé à cette session à ILE en Afrique du Sud. C'est vrai qu'un fait est de partager, de participer, mais le plus important, c'est ce que nous faisons après. Et je vais aller très vite pour dire que dès que nous sommes rentrés, nous avons partagé avec le cabinet du ministre notre rapport de mission qui comprend le document de synthèse. Et la chance que nous avons eue, c'est d'être venus avec le secrétaire général du ministère lui-même. Je dois dire aussi qu'en ce moment, la RDC est dans un vaste programme de construction et de reconstruction d'écoles. Et déjà, dans ce programme-là, nous comptons imposer en fait notre motto qui est No Wash, No School. Alors, déjà, ce vendredi, nous avons une réunion au cabinet du ministre pour la restitution qui va parler en fait des infrastructures scolaires en général, mais nous comptons bien sûr appuyer sur la question WASH telle que c'est conçu. Et ce qui va se passer, c'est que en fin janvier 2026, il y a une grande réunion qui est prévue avec une cinquantaine de partenaires. Oui, et nous allons restituer ce que nous avons eu comme information à propos des WASH, mais également faire en sorte que de cette réunion puisse sortir un lead clair, une coordination claire de tous les partenaires impliqués dans la question des WASH en RDC. Alors, en termes de pratiques concrètes qui nous ont vraiment inspirés, c'est d'abord cette classification en termes d'étoiles pour la mise en place des WASH, mais également la question de l'hygiène menstruelle telle qu'elle est conçue euh, dans l'approche plus holistique des WASH. Ça, c'est une question que nous comptons faire approfondir ici avec nos communautés lorsqu'il s'agira de l'implémentation des programmes, disons-le, moi je l'appelle tout un programme WASH dans les écoles. Alors, bon, dans quelle mesure nous comptons accélérer la question des WINS dans notre pays? Il faut le dire, la délégation ministérielle participe pour la première fois, disons-le, de manière active, puisque généralement, nous avons été représentés par un partenaire. Mais cette fois-ci, les acteurs de mise en œuvre eux-mêmes ont été présents et nous avons compris que nous devons activement commencer par l'élaboration de la politique, de la stratégie, de la planification et même du budget sur les WASH afin de dialoguer avec le ministère des Finances. Bien entendu, la matrice, elle a été acceptée ici après nos discussions comme étant vraiment un véritable tableau de bord, un tableau de référence, disons même une boussole pour que nous puissions atteindre les objectifs WASH et être vraiment au même diapason que les autres pays qui nous ont vraiment précédés et fort heureusement parce que on a pu vraiment être enrichis de leurs expériences et donc nous allons utiliser cette matrice pour être en fait notre fil conducteur dans la mise en place de WITS. Donc, il ne me reste plus qu'à vous remercier en espérant que lors de notre prochaine rencontre de suivi, nous pourrons quand même avoir quelque chose de concret à présenter. Mais déjà, je vous dis que cette idée a vraiment pris au niveau du cabinet du ministre qui souhaite vraiment prendre le lead dans cette question côté des autres ministères.
Ah, so the challenge is on. Le défi, ça marche. Hein? We have a challenge for DRC for the next time to come up with very concrete, but I think you're definitely in the right direction. Very impressive with what you've been able to do, even in terms of information sharing, being able to see this as part of a wider program, which is rehabilitation of major infrastructure rehabilitation in schools. So integrating this as well. And if I understand correctly, the processes that are already being put in place. So thank you very much. That's super enlightening. And we look forward to the follow-up concrete actions and also to invite you, I think the DRC team, to present, because as you mentioned, it was the first time that the full delegation representing ministries were there. And I think it's a huge opportunity perhaps for them to present as well in a coming ILE webinar. So we hope you will be able to take that challenge for us. Thank you very much. So with that,
Merci à vous.
thank you. So with that then, I do see there's one more hand up, but we are slightly over time. As the hand has gone down now. Okay, so maybe we're just going to close off the webinar. As Bella mentioned in the chat, and I again welcome you, is that we will have regular ILE catch-up meetings offering opportunities to present so that different countries can present. So these exchanges can continue beyond the ILE, beyond this post-webinar meeting, that there is actually tangible ways in which we can continue to engage and inspire each other. So I'm looking forward to that. And from the 3 presentations or the 4 presentations we've had today, I can definitely see from Madagascar to Chad to as well as DRC Congo, as well as to Zambia, how much momentum and traction is taking place. So as we close off the webinar, I want to, we go back to our slides. So, and also continue welcoming the discussion forward. So just in closing, again, the WINS network. So the WINS network, ILE, sometimes a bit confusing, but we want to explain a little bit, who are we, the WINS network? Again, the WINS network is a global interagency network aimed to harmonize efforts, promote alignment with development partners. And as you saw in very many of the events and also the sessions, our core members, UNICEF, GIZ, WaterAid, and many other partners who supported the ILEs in the past and continue to support in activities. So please join online. One of the key things that the WINS network does is actually, if you go onto the website, www.winsnetwork.org, is a knowledge hub for guiding, actually global guidance. So taking a lot of curated global guidance and sharing that on WASH in schools. And it's often challenging when countries, you know, I imagine myself in a country that wants to, so to say, where can we get information, or where are the best practices in certain areas? Well, look no further. The WINS network has curated a lot of the information. So when some of those sessions that we discussed, whether it's on MHH, climate, and so forth, you can find all of those information, as well as information for the JMP, are all available there. So the Knowledge Hub is a key, important role of the WINS network. Now, WINS network is available for everyone. You can join as an individual, you can join as an organization. If you do have your phone, take it and scan the QR code that will send you right into the registration. And we welcome all persons, especially country delegations, to join the WINS network, because that's where not only will you get information, you'll be able to get the outcome documents from previous years. This webinar recording will be there, as well as many other resources. So with that, on behalf of the WINS Network, I mean Knox, Natalie, Lucy, who supports the WINS Network, as myself, and of course, Bella, Mons, you can contact the WINS Network anytime, and for more information, and also to see how your organizations can better align and be part of the network, active in the network. So with that, that brings our webinar to the close. Want to thank everybody for joining. Want to thank our interpreters. I know we had a little bit of challenges setting it up, but you play a very important role in keeping us all connected. So thank you to the interpreters, and thank you to all. So wishing you all a very good afternoon, and please again, join the WINS Network. Let's connect, and we hope again that we continue these conversations. Thank you all. Stay well. Bye.